My beloved child, there are moments when you think you must hide yourself to escape the darkness that seems to be closing in. Yet I speak to you with both gentleness and firmness. You are not called to run. You are appointed to stand, not by your own strength, but by my presence within you, like a watchman guarding something precious through the long night. There are flames that do not blaze as they do in daylight, that do not shine brightly for all to see. Yet they continue to burn quietly, and it is those very flames that keep life from going out. Do not confuse silence with absence. There are seasons when I do not cause you to burn brightly, but instead I teach you how to tend the fire. And it is there that your faithfulness is most clearly formed, not in excitement, but in unseen perseverance. And as you walk through such hours, I want you to understand that what you need is not stronger emotions, but deeper awareness. This awareness is not tension or anxiety, but a gentle knowing that you do not walk alone, that every thought and every response carries meaning before me. As it is written, watch and pray, that you may not enter into temptation. Matthew 26:41. This word is not meant only for moments of crisis, but as a rhythm of life, I desire you to sustain each day. When you remain watchful, you are not easily carried away by what is not from me. When you remain watchful, unfamiliar voices do not easily take space within your heart. I know there are times when you feel you are no longer as strong as before. Emotions that once rose within you now grow quiet. Convictions that once felt clear now seem dim. But my beloved, in those very moments, you do not need to withdraw from me. You need to draw closer. For I am not only with you when you feel full, I am nearest to you when you feel empty. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. And so the place you think is your weakest can become the very place where I reveal my most gentle strength. Do not wait until you feel sufficient before you seek me. Come when you feel lacking, for it is precisely then that you are positioned to receive. Remember, what I have placed within you is not self-sustaining. A flame does not burn without oil, nor does it stand without protection. In the same way, your inner life must be nourished daily. When you pray, you are not merely speaking, you are pouring oil into what I have already kindled. When you choose discernment, you are raising walls that guard what is sacred from unseen winds. And when you obey as soon as I touch your heart, you are keeping the flame from fading before it has the chance to rise again. As it is written, do not quench the Spirit. 1 Thessalonians 5:19. This is not a distant warning, but a living principle that every choice you make carries the power either to nurture or to weaken what I have sown. There is a story you may not have considered in this way. When the prophet Elijah stood on Mount Carmel, he called down fire from heaven. And that fire burned with such intensity that it consumed everything upon the altar. Yet, afterward, that same man entered a season of exhaustion, fleeing and feeling alone. I did not come to him again with fire, but with a still, gentle whisper. Do you see? My beloved, I do not always move through what is spectacular. There are seasons when I choose quietness to teach you to know me more deeply. Great fire may capture attention, but it is the gentle voice that leads the soul. Therefore, when you find yourself in a quiet season, do not rush to conclude that you have lost something. It may be that I am teaching you how to keep it. When you no longer feel the burning intensity, do not try to force yourself back into what once was. Remain with me in simplicity. For whoever is faithful in little will also be faithful in much. Luke 16:10. Your faithfulness in small things, a prayer no one hears, a right choice no one sees, an act of obedience no one acknowledges. That is precisely where the flame is preserved. My beloved child, Do not allow delay to create empty spaces within your heart. There are things that do not need to come like a storm to shake you. Even a small opening is enough for what is not from me to slip in. When I prompt you, even gently, respond at once. Not because I demand it, but because I am protecting you. Every swift act of obedience becomes a layer of covering over what I have placed within you. And every time you choose to delay, you are leaving the flame exposed to the wind without the protection it needs. I am not calling you to live in fear, but in a calm alertness, not so that you become anxious over every step, but so that you recognize the value of each step. You do not need to do great things to keep the fire. You simply must not neglect it. And when you are able to keep what is small, I will cause what is great to be sustained naturally. So remain close to me not only when you feel strong, but also when you are weary. Not only when you feel full, but also when you feel empty. For it is in those very moments that I am teaching you something deeper than emotion, how to live with me without depending on circumstances. And then you will realize that the flame within you is not only something you must keep, it is something I am keeping with you. My beloved child, what I have given you is not a fragile flame that you must strain to protect in fear, but a life placed within you that you are learning to nurture through love. When you hold it, not by pressure, but by love for me, you will find that guarding it is no longer a burden, but becomes a natural flow. I am not teaching you to shrink back before the darkness. I am teaching you to stand within it without losing the light inside you. And as you live this way, you will come to understand something deeper. You are not only one who keeps the flame, you are being transformed into one who carries it, a person who can walk through long stretches of the journey and still shine. And that light will not end with you, but will extend to those who are wandering. As it is written, you are the light of the world, let your light shine before others. Matthew 5:14-16. This is not a call to display yourself, but an invitation to live so genuinely that the light is revealed naturally. And as I lead you deeper, I want you to understand again what many have misunderstood: discipline. You often think of discipline as restriction, as something that takes away your freedom. But I tell you, discipline in me is not a chain, but a gentle protection. It is like a fence around the garden I have planted within you. If that garden is left unguarded, what is beautiful will be trampled before it has time to grow. But with the right boundaries, every seed can take root. Every branch can stretch upward. Every flower can bloom without being invaded. In the same way, when you learn to keep yourself within healthy limits, your joy will no longer be something that comes and goes like the wind, but will become a deep and steady stream. As it is written, blessed is the one who delights in the law of the Lord. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season. Psalm 1:2-3. You see, stability does not come from holding more, but from being rightly planted. I want you to see that a disciplined person is not one who is confined, but one who has discovered the depth of life. They do not chase every passing emotion, but know how to choose what nourishes them over time. They can pause to enjoy, yet they do not allow that pause to lead them astray. They know joy, but their joy does not cause them to forget the purpose I have placed within their life. They rest, yet they do not allow rest to become a refuge for delay. As it is written, all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial. 1 Corinthians 10:23. So what I teach you is not to say no to everything, but to discern to know what causes you to grow and what quietly drains you. Remember one whom you may have heard of before, but consider his story in a new way. Daniel lived in a foreign land, where everything around him did not reflect what I had taught. He could have easily yielded to the current of his surroundings, yet he chose to maintain a quiet discipline He did not allow his heart to be dissolved by the environment around him. He did not need to prove himself through great acts each day. He simply kept a consistent life, praying, guarding purity, and refusing to trade what was within for outward convenience. It was that discipline that kept the flame within him from going out. And in time, the light of his life became a powerful testimony within an entire kingdom. Do you see, my beloved? What sustained him was not favorable circumstances, but faithfulness in the small things that no one noticed. Therefore, I am not calling you to become rigid, but to become clear, not so that you live in strained control, but in directed freedom. When you know what is precious, you will not easily allow it to be violated. When you understand what is growing within you, you will naturally desire to protect it. And in that process, you will come to realize that discipline does not take away joy, it deepens it. Joy is no longer a fleeting feeling, but becomes a steady foundation within you. My beloved child, I am teaching you something not everyone understands. True freedom is not the ability to do everything you want, but the ability to choose what is right even when you could choose otherwise. When you enter into that freedom, you are no longer pulled by every wave of emotion, but you stand firm like one who knows where they are going. And as you maintain that steadiness, the flame within you will no longer flicker according to circumstance, but will burn steadily, enduringly, and will be able to warm those around you. So continue to walk without haste, without heaviness, but with certainty. Guard what I have placed within you, not with the fear of losing it, but with the joy of keeping it. And as you do, you will gradually realize that I am not only teaching you to live rightly, I am forming within you a life that can carry light farther than you have ever imagined. My beloved child, there are things so small that you may easily overlook them, yet they quietly shape the direction of your soul. An unguarded word can distort the gentleness of your heart. A neglected thought can cause the light within you to grow dim. A moment of hesitation in response to my prompting can cause you to miss the rhythm of what I have prepared. I do not say this so that you live in tension, but so that you recognize the value of each small detail you often ignore. For it is within the simplest things that you are sowing seeds which will grow into decisions, into habits, and ultimately into the person you become. As it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. So, true maturity does not come from rare moments of brilliance, but from the steady repetition of right choices in daily life. And when you begin to see this, you will no longer treat seemingly insignificant moments lightly. A word held back at the right time can preserve the peace within you. A thought corrected in time can keep your path from drifting. A small act of obedience, though unseen, can open a door you never imagined. Remember the poor widow in the temple. She offered only 2 small coins, something many might consider insignificant. Yet that very act was seen by me as a complete offering. Because she gave with her whole heart, this widow has put in more than all the others. Mark 12:43. Do you see? My beloved, I do not measure by outward size. I look at inward faithfulness. And what you keep in the small things will become the foundation for the greater things you have not yet seen. So I invite you to walk with a heart that is gentle, yet not careless. Do not let burdens harden you or close you off. For I did not create you to live under heavy strain. Yet, at the same time, I am forming within you a steadiness, a backbone that is not bent by changing circumstances. You may be tender in love, but you must be firm in truth. You may be gentle in your ways, yet unwavering in your direction. This is the balance I am shaping within you, a soul that flows like water, yet stands like stone. When you place me in my rightful position within your heart, you will begin to notice a profound change. The fear of loss will fade, and dependence on the opinions of others will no longer hold you. You will not need to prove your worth through outward recognition, because you will know that you stand in my affirmation. As it is written, if God is for us, who can be against us? Romans 8:31. This word is not given so that you may stand in opposition to the world, but so that you may rest in the assurance that you need not fear anything when I am with you. My presence not only protects you, it positions you, helping you understand who you are and where you are going. There is a story I want you to reconsider with deeper understanding. When David was still a young shepherd, no one regarded those days as important. He faced lions and bears and endured long days in the wilderness, things that seemed small and insignificant. Yet it was there, in those unseen details, that he learned to protect, learned to trust, learned not to run. And when he later stood before Goliath, what others saw as a great battle was, for him, simply the continuation of what he had been faithful in through the small things. Do you see, my beloved? What produces a great victory is not the moment of confrontation, but the many quiet days of preparation that came before. I am teaching you in the same way. I do not rush you into great things when your inner foundation is not yet strengthened. I do not place you in high positions when your heart has not yet been formed in steadiness. For I am not only concerned with what you achieve, I care whether you are able to sustain it. And that begins with how you live in the smallest things each day. There will come a time when you no longer experience discipline as something restrictive. You will come to see that what I am teaching you is not meant to confine you, but to open before you a deeper kind of freedom. A freedom that does not arise from doing whatever you desire, but from the ability to choose what is right without inner conflict. When you enter into that state, you will no longer fear mistakes, for you are being guided. You will not be unsettled by loss, for you have learned how to preserve what is true. You will no longer be governed by human opinion, because your foundation has been set in me, and within that transformation, your soul will become steady like a fortress that cannot easily be shaken. Yet it will still retain the tenderness to love, to feel, and to walk in my leading. You will not become hardened like stone, nor will you drift aimlessly like unformed water. You will become a stream with direction, flowing under my guidance, and at the same time, a place of strength where others may find support. So, my beloved child, do not take lightly the small things. It is there that I am working most deeply. It is there that you are becoming the person I have ordained. And when you are faithful in those simple things, you will step into greater things, not with fear, but with a steadiness that no one can take from you. My beloved child, there are souls who lose their way, not because of one great misstep, but because they allow small deviations to accumulate without awareness. I teach you this not so that you become fearful of every detail, but so that you understand the value of remaining close to me in even the smallest steps. One who honors what is sacred does not allow a quiet distance to grow between themselves and the truth. They do not delay when their heart is prompted, nor do they justify what is misaligned. When light touches them, they respond. When they recognize the need for correction, they do not turn away, for they understand that stopping to realign is wisdom, while continuing in the wrong direction only leads them farther away. As it is written, forgetting what lies behind and reaching forward to what lies ahead. Philippians 3:13. So, when you have corrected your course, do not look back with regret, but move forward with a steady heart. I do not seek in you a cold perfection where no fracture ever appears. I seek a heart that listens, a heart that does not close itself when corrected, but opens to be shaped. When you remain soft before me, You will not be bound by the fear of failure. And when you are not governed by that fear, you will not be held back by guilt. You will learn to live within a continual flow of refinement, a process that does not diminish you, but forms you more into my likeness each day. As it is written, the Lord disciplines those he loves, Proverbs 3:12. So every time I touch you, it is not to condemn, but to realign what has begun to drift. Look again at the life of Peter, and you will understand what I am saying more clearly. He was the one who once boldly declared his loyalty, yet in a moment of weakness, he denied me. If he had allowed that failure to define him, he would never have risen again. But when my gaze met his, he turned back, not with self-justification, but with genuine repentance. And the one who once stumbled became a strong pillar, leading many others. Do you see, my beloved, true strength is not found in never falling, but in how you rise, rising in truth, in humility, and in returning to me. Therefore, I want you to change the way you see the moments when you realize you have been wrong. Do not fear them. What should concern you is not that you have strayed once, but that you no longer desire to return. As long as you turn back, you remain within my covenant. As long as you are still listening, you remain within the flow of grace. And in that very returning, you are being renewed not by your own strength, but by my power at work within you. My beloved child, there is a courage I am cultivating within you, the courage to face yourself without hiding. One who carries this courage does not need to be perfect in order to move forward. They only need to be honest and willing to be corrected. They are not afraid to pause when necessary, for they understand that every timely pause prevents a longer path of error. And once they have realigned, they do not continue in hesitation, but in certainty, because they know they are walking with me. I also want you to understand that keeping and correcting always go together. The one who knows how to keep what I have given is not the one who never deviates, but the one who does not remain in that deviation. They do not let failure become their dwelling place, but turn it into a point of return. And each time they return, they do not grow weaker, they grow stronger, because they learn how to walk rightly. As it is written, though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again, Proverbs 24:16. So do not define yourself by the times you have stumbled. Define yourself by the fact that you rise again in me. For in that rising, you are being formed into someone steadfast, not because you never fail, but because you know how to return rightly. So, my beloved child, keep your heart soft and ready. Do not let pride slow you down in correcting yourself. And do not let shame cause you to withdraw. Return as soon as I touch you, and continue forward as I lead you. And as you live this way, you will become one who is able to carry what I have prepared, not because you meet the standards of the world, but because you have learned how to be in the right place, at the right time, and in the right rhythm with me, my beloved child. Once you have learned to stand firm in quiet hours and to keep yourself within a life of discipline, I do not leave you in isolation like an island cut off from a greater current. I draw you further, into a depth where you no longer see only yourself, but begin to understand that you are part of something far greater. You were not created to carry the whole picture alone. I have placed you within a body, where each part has its place, its rhythm, and its distinct role. Yet all are joined together. As it is written, the body is one, but has many parts, and all the parts, though many, form one body, 1 Corinthians 12:12. So you do not need to compete or compare, nor do you need to fear being overlooked, for your portion has already been established in my wisdom before you even recognized it. When you begin to understand this truth, your heart will be released from an invisible burden, the burden of trying to be everything for everyone. You will no longer be drawn into silent comparisons, no longer questioning whether you are enough, because you will know that you are not called to replace anyone else, nor is anyone else called to replace you. Each person carries a portion of the light, and when those portions are placed rightly, that light becomes more complete. I do not build a body through uniformity, but through differences joined together in unity, and it is within that unity that the true beauty of my intention is revealed. My beloved child, let the truth of covenant sink deeply within you, not as a distant idea, but as a living reality at work each day. Covenant is not merely a promise I have spoken and then set aside as something far off. It is the intertwining of my life with yours. When you step into covenant, you do not simply carry my name as an outward label. My very rhythm of life begins to flow within you. Your decisions no longer arise from fear or isolated calculation, but from a deeper source you did not create. As it is written, I live, yet not I, but Christ lives in me. Galatians 2:20. So what I am leading you into is not a concept, but a life transformed from within. When you truly enter into that union, you will realize that you no longer need to strain to keep everything under control. You do not lose yourself. Rather, you are restored to your true identity as I formed it from the beginning, an identity not distorted by pressure, not defined by fear, but positioned in me. And from that place, you begin to move within a flow you cannot manufacture. It is the flow of life, of guidance, of connections that are arranged with precision without your striving. I also begin to lead you into connections that are not accidental. You will encounter those who carry the same spiritual rhythm, who look in the same direction, who long for me with the same heart. This is not so that you become dependent, but so that together you may reflect what I am doing. When you stand alone, you may walk, but when you stand in true unity, you step into a principle that goes beyond natural limitation, a resonance the human mind cannot fully explain. As it is written, two are better than one, for if one falls, the other will lift up his companion. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. So unity does not weaken you, it strengthens you. Remember the story of the early church in the book of Acts. They did not gather for an outward reason alone, but because they were joined in one spirit. They shared, supported, prayed, and lived together in such unity that all who believed were together. Acts 2:44. And it was within that unity that my power was revealed so strongly. Not because each individual had become perfect, but because each one was positioned rightly within the body I had established. Do you see? My beloved, what I build is not a collection of isolated individuals, but a living flow, where every part is connected to reveal the fullness of my purpose upon the earth. Therefore, do not be afraid to step out of isolation when I call you into unity. Separation is not where you will reach full maturity. You may be refined in silence, but you are completed in connection. I am not removing you from the discipline you have learned. I am placing it within a greater context, where your discipline becomes the foundation that enables you to stand firmly with others. My beloved child, as you walk in unity with me and with those I have placed beside you, you will no longer be limited by your own strength. You will see things accomplished not merely by your ability, but through the harmony of many parts set in their proper place. And in this, you will come to understand that I am not only teaching you how to live, I am teaching you to become part of something living, an unceasing flow, a body moving according to my eternal purpose. My beloved child, do not regard the connections I place in your life as mere chance encounters that pass and fade. For behind every meeting I have set an intention that is not easily seen with natural eyes. There are intersections along your journey that do not arise from human arrangement, but from my ordering places, where separate streams are drawn together to form a stronger direction. When you learn to abide in me first, when your heart is anchored in unity with me, you will no longer connect with others out of need or passing emotion, but through a deep awareness of what I am doing. As it is written, if two of you agree on earth concerning anything they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. Matthew 18:19. Do you see? My beloved, true unity is not merely closeness in position, but alignment in the rhythm of my purpose. And when you enter into that unity, you will find that what once required great strain becomes lighter, not because challenges disappear, but because you no longer carry them alone. Doors that once seemed closed do not open randomly. They respond to the resonance of lives walking together under my leading. You do not need to generate momentum by your own strength, for the current I have placed you in carries you forward. What you once struggled to attain becomes something you are naturally led into. And in this, you begin to understand that power does not lie in your effort, but in the unity you step into. But my beloved, I also teach you to keep your heart humble in this process, for no true unity is built upon an unyielded self. As you learn to release the need for recognition, the need to stand at the center, you do not lose yourself. You are being positioned rightly within a greater whole. As it is written, in humility consider others better than yourselves. Philippians 2:3. This is not to diminish your worth, but to free you from the limits of self-centered vision and open you to flow within my kingdom. It is in such humility that you are lifted in the right way, not by your own hand, but by mine. Remember the story of Jonathan and David. They were not merely two individuals who met, but two souls joined in a deep covenant. Jonathan, though he held a position that could have led to rivalry, chose instead to lay himself down to lift David according to what I had ordained. This was not loss, but unity within a greater purpose, and that bond became a source of strength, protection, and affirmation for them both. Do you see? My beloved, when you enter into true unity, you do not compete, you resonate. You do not grasp, you contribute. And what I accomplish through such unity always exceeds what any one individual could achieve alone. When you live within the connections I establish, you will begin to perceive something profound. You no longer need to strive to do something great in order to prove your worth. Your very life, when rightly positioned, becomes part of something great. Every word you speak no longer stands alone, but carries the weight of life. Every step you take is no longer isolated, but moves within the direction of a greater current. As it is written, we are co-workers with God, 1 Corinthians 3:9. So you are not living for yourself alone, you are building, together with me and with those I have placed beside you, something of eternal significance. My beloved child, learn to recognize and honor the connections I give you. Do not hold them carelessly, yet do not grasp them with control. Let me guide how you connect, how you remain, and even how you move forward when the time comes. For not every connection is meant to last forever, yet everything I place carries purpose within its appointed time. When you live with this awareness, you will no longer be wounded by change, but will walk in trust, knowing that I am ordering all things for good. So walk in this covenant not as a promise you remember only when you are in need, but as a current in which you live each day. Let your unity with me become your foundation. And from that foundation, allow every other connection to be formed rightly. And as you live in this way, you will see that my words are no longer merely sound, but become life at work, life that multiplies, flows outward, and reveals my glory through your life and through those who walk alongside you. My beloved child, as you learn to step into the unity I am opening before you. Keep your heart softened in humility, for it is there that you are guarded from the quiet separation that the self often creates. There is a subtle voice within you that at times seeks to draw you out of the shared flow, to elevate yourself, to shape your own path apart from others. Yet I speak to you gently and clearly. You were not created for isolation. You were created to belong. And when you release the desire to exalt yourself in your own way, you are not diminished. You are placed where your value is multiplied, far beyond what you could produce alone. As it is written, in humility consider others better than yourselves. Philippians 2:3. This is not a call to lose yourself, but an invitation into harmony, where every part is honored in its rightful place, lacking nothing and exceeding nothing. And as you begin to live in this truth, you will realize that the unity I speak of is not a method or a strategy for achieving something, but the very nature of my kingdom. I do not move through isolated individuals striving by their own strength. I move through a living body, where each part is joined in one rhythm. When you enter that flow, you will no longer feel that you must carry everything alone. You will sense an unseen support, a guidance that does not require your striving to produce. And you will begin to see that heaven is no longer distant, no longer a place you only imagine reaching, but a reality at work within you, through you, and around you. There is a story I want you to consider in this light. When the disciples were gathered in the upper room after I had ascended, they did not fully know what would come next. Yet they chose to remain together in unity and waiting. No one sought to separate to pursue their own path. No one tried to prove themselves above the others. And it was in that unity that the Spirit descended not upon one individual alone, but upon the whole community in one accord. They were all together in one place. Acts 2:1. And then power was revealed in fullness. Do you see? My beloved, what opens the door is not individual striving, but unity that is aligned in the right time, in the right way, and in the right rhythm with me. When you live within that unity, everything begins to return to its rightful place without your striving. What once seemed tangled becomes clear. Connections that once felt fragile grow firm. Steps that once felt heavy become light. Not because you have gained greater control, but because you are now aligned within the flow I have ordained. And within that flow, every part is arranged naturally, like pieces, finding their place in a greater picture you were never meant to complete on your own. My beloved child, as you go deeper into this covenant, you will no longer question whether you are enough. That question will begin to dissolve, because you are no longer measuring yourself in isolation. You will come to know that in me, you have already been placed rightly. And when you stand in that place, you do not need to become someone else to fulfill what I have given you. You only need to be who you are, yet who you are, in unity with me and with those I have placed beside you. As it is written, we, though many, are one body in Christ, and individually members of one another. Romans 12:5. So your completeness does not come from possessing everything, but from being rightly connected. Therefore, I invite you to step into this with an open heart, not closed by fear of being hurt, nor controlling out of fear of loss. Trust that I know how to connect, how to position, and how to sustain what I have begun. When you are willing to walk in unity, you do not lose control. You step into guidance. And as you walk in that guidance, you will see that everything I have spoken is not merely a promise, but a living reality at work. So remain in this flow. My beloved, let your heart be soft enough to merge within it, yet steady enough not to be carried off course. Trust that as you abide in me and walk in unity with those I have placed around you, you are always where you need to be, at the time you need to move, and fully supplied to accomplish what I have ordained from the beginning. My beloved child, look at a kite in the open sky. It does not create the wind that lifts it, nor does it resist the wind by its own strength. It learns to yield, to adjust the line, and to move with the unseen current in order to rise higher. So it is with your soul. When you release the desire to control everything on your own, when you lay down the isolated self, you are not diminished. You are opened into a wider space where we is formed according to my design. And within that we, the mission no longer feels burdensome, but begins to move with a rhythm you do not have to strain to produce. As it is written, be of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one purpose. Philippians 2:2. Do you see? My beloved, this is not merely counsel for harmony, but a doorway into the flow of power I desire to release upon your life. I do not pour increase into places where one strives to carry everything alone. I do not release true momentum where the heart is still governed by the need for control, but I entrust rhythm and growth to those who know how to listen, how to adjust, and how to move in harmony with those I have placed beside them. When you learn to collaborate instead of compete, when you learn to listen instead of impose, you begin to walk in a principle the world struggles to understand. Yet my kingdom fully operates within the principle that unity produces a strength greater than the sum of its individual parts. And my beloved child, I have placed within your own body a living illustration of this truth, so that you need not search far to understand. Look at how each part functions. No part exists on its own, and no part is sufficient to replace the whole. Each has its role, yet life is sustained only when all operate in harmony. As it is written, the eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. On the contrary, the parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. 1 Corinthians 12:21-22. Therefore, do not disregard what seems small, nor hastily dismiss what appears weak. There are parts that are not prominent, yet they uphold the entire structure. There are those who are seldom seen, yet they are where I lay the foundation for greater things. Remember when I sent the disciples out 2 by 2, I did not send them alone. Though each possessed individual ability, I placed them together so they would learn to support, to listen, and to discern my work as one. And in going together, they were not only stronger, but clearer in their direction. Do you see? My beloved, when you walk alone, you may move quickly for a short distance, but when you walk in unity, you travel farther over the long journey. Therefore, when you feel the need to lay down a portion of yourself to move in harmony with others, do not see it as loss. It is a transition from a limited way of living into an expanded one. When you hold tightly to yourself, you function only within your own limits. But when you open your heart to unity, you step into a space where what I have placed within many begins to connect, forming a current far greater than any individual part. My beloved child, what I am teaching you is not to dissolve your identity until it is lost, but to align yourself rightly so that your identity may be more fully expressed. Just as in the body, each part retains its function, yet none exists to exalt itself. Everything serves the life of the whole. And when you live in this way, you will no longer feel small, because you are no longer standing alone. You will not fear being insufficient, because you understand that completeness comes through the connections I have established. So learn to listen to my rhythm, not only within your own heart, but also through those I have placed beside you. Learn to adjust without losing your steadiness. Learn to cooperate without losing the voice I have given you. And as you do, you will discover that your soul is like that kite. It does not create the wind, yet it rises high. It does not strain, yet it moves far, because it has learned to move with the current I am breathing through your life. Within that current, you will see what was once heavy become light, what was once scattered become joined, and what was once unclear become understood, not because you have mastered all things, but because you have learned to stand in the right position, the position of a part within the whole, where life does not originate from you alone, but flows through you and through all who are united with you in me. My beloved child, do not allow your heart to be drawn into silent comparisons. Each time you look at another's journey to measure your own, you step away from the place I have set for you. I have not placed you in a race where you must surpass others to prove your worth. I have placed you in a flow where you are called to be faithful to the portion I have given. When you accept your place, not resisting, not doubting, but walking in obedience, you anchor yourself in the rhythm of my kingdom. And when each part keeps that rhythm, the whole moves with a life that no one could produce by their own strength. There are times when you feel that you are not prominent enough, not sane, or somehow less significant than others. But I tell you this clearly, life is not sustained by what receives the most attention, but by what remains most faithful. Look at your own body. The heart does not shine brightly, nor does it draw attention like the eyes. Yet if it stops beating, everything ceases. Do you see? My beloved, what sustains life is not visibility, but steadfastness in the function assigned. In the same way, your part may not be widely recognized, but when you keep it faithfully, you are preserving the flow I have established from being interrupted. As it is written, we are members of one another. Ephesians 4:25. So when you stand in your rightful place, you are not living for yourself alone. Every choice you make, every small act of obedience, every time you keep your heart aligned, all of it affects the whole. You are not a separate fragment, you are a connected part. And when you understand this, you will no longer seek value through outward recognition, but through inward faithfulness. Remember Bezalel, whom I chose to carry out the intricate work of the tabernacle. He was not the one standing before crowds to teach or lead, but one who labored quietly, attentively, in the smallest details. Yet it was through his work that a place for my presence was prepared among the people. Do you see? My beloved, not all are called to stand in visible places, but all are called to fulfill their part. And when each one fulfills that part, my glory is revealed more fully. Therefore, do not diminish your position. Do not think you must become someone else to gain value. You are not called to replace, you are called to be present. When you stand in the place I have given you, you are holding a position no one else can occupy. And when you are faithful there, you are contributing to something far greater than what you can see. My beloved child, when you stop comparing and begin to rest in what I have entrusted to you, a deep peace will come over your heart. You will no longer be pulled between insecurity and pride. You will no longer strive to stand out, nor withdraw in fear. You will simply walk steadily, lightly, and clearly, and within that simplicity, you will become stronger than you have ever imagined. When the body functions in unity, the world will no longer see scattered individuals, but a reflection of me, a life woven from many parts, yet flowing from one source. That is how my glory is revealed, not through one standing alone, but through a living body, moving and unified in me. So hold your place with gratitude and faithfulness. Walk without comparison, without doubt, without stepping away from where I have placed you. And as you do, you will come to see that you are not small. You are an essential part of what I am building, a contributor to the flow of life I am releasing upon the earth. My beloved child, do not let familiarity become an invisible cord that keeps you bound within the limits you have built for yourself. There are things you call safe, yet they are only repetitions of what you already know, what you have grown accustomed to, what you can control. I am not calling you to remain where your soul no longer grows. I am calling you to step out, not so that you lose yourself, but so that you may be expanded. What you long for within, the increase you sense, yet have not touched, will not come by repeating what you have already done. It comes when you dare to release old ways of thinking, old patterns of operating, and step into the new flow I am beginning. As it is written, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. Philippians 3:13. Do you see? My beloved, you cannot take hold of what I have placed before you if your hands are still tightly grasping what I have asked you to release. The courage I am calling you into is not impulsive action, but a deep obedience, a step taken even when you do not yet see the full path. But you trust the one who is leading you. When you step out of what is familiar, you may feel a moment of emptiness, as though you have lost your former footing. Yet I tell you, it is within that very space that I lay a new foundation. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. For if you walk only within what you can comprehend, you will never reach what I have prepared beyond your understanding. And my beloved child, as you step forward at my call, you will come to recognize something that brings you peace. I never send you alone. I place beside you those who carry the same rhythm, hearts touched by the same longing for me. They do not appear by accident in your journey. They are part of what I am weaving together. When you learn to open your heart to walk in unity with them, not holding distance out of fear of being hurt, not holding on to self out of fear of losing position, you will enter into a strength you have never known before. As it is written, bear one another's burdens. Galatians 6:2. Understand this more deeply when you share. You do not lose your strength. You receive added strength from others. When you give, you do not become lacking. You are placed within a flow where fullness circulates. Strength no longer lies in how much you can accomplish alone, but in how many you can move with in the same direction. And within that shared rhythm, what once felt heavy becomes light. What once seemed difficult becomes possible. Remember, when the people of Israel rebuilt the walls of Jerusalem, no single person could complete that work alone. Yet each stood at a section of the wall. Each fulfilled their part, and all were aligned toward one purpose. And in a short time, what seemed impossible was accomplished. Do you see? My beloved, completion is not produced by one outstanding individual, but by a body unified in purpose. When each stands in the right place and fulfills their part, I accomplish the rest. Therefore, when you sense that I am drawing you out of the familiar, do not resist. Do not try to return to what is comfortable simply because it feels easier. Step forward even when you cannot yet see everything. Trust that I am leading you into a place where you no longer need to strain to achieve, but are positioned within a flow where increase unfolds naturally. My beloved child, what I am preparing for you does not exist within the old framework you have been used to. It lies on the other side of courage, where you dare to release in order to receive, dare to leave in order to enter, dare to trust in order to advance. And when you step into it, you will realize that you have not lost true security. You have only left behind a limited version of it to enter into a deeper assurance, an assurance that comes from me. So step forward, not alone, but with me, not in fear, but in trust. And as you do, you will find that what once seemed distant draws near. What once seemed unreachable begins to open, because you have entered the very flow I established for your life from the beginning. My beloved child, When you begin to deeply recognize that you are walking in me and not merely for me, a quiet yet powerful shift will take place in the way you see life. What once seemed small, repetitive, or insignificant will become filled with meaning. A simple step will no longer be just movement, but obedience. A gentle word will no longer be mere communication, but the release of life. A hidden act will no longer fade into obscurity, but will become a place where I breathe the substance of the miraculous. Not because you have become outwardly different in the eyes of the world, but because you have entered into my rhythm, a rhythm where even the smallest thing carries the imprint of eternal life. As it is written, whatever you do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, Colossians 3:23. So nothing you do in me is without meaning. And when you no longer live in separation, but walk together with those I have connected to you, you will see that this rhythm does not remain within you alone. It extends, touch, connects, and forms a current greater than any single part. What was once individual becomes collective. What was once small becomes unified strength. And within that current, there is a power you cannot generate, a power that does not come from striving, but from alignment. As it is written, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Psalm 133:1. For it is in unity that I command the blessing. And that blessing is not confined by circumstance. My beloved child, I am not calling you to seek what is easy, for ease often keeps you bound within what is familiar. I am calling you to seek unity with me first, and then with those I have placed beside you. When you hold fast to me, you no longer need to cling to the false securities you once built, for I myself am the unshakable foundation. When you abide in me, you no longer need to create your own rhythm, for you have entered the rhythm of heaven. Remember the moment when the disciples were rowing through the night against the wind and waves. They labored in their own strength, yet made little progress. But when I came to them upon the water and entered the boat, immediately they reached their destination. Do you see? My beloved, true acceleration is not found in how fast you row, but in whether I am present within your vessel. When I am present, what once seemed distant and difficult becomes near and light. Therefore, as you live in unity not only with me, but with those I have joined to you, you will understand that your journey is no longer one of isolated striving. You do not need to run faster than others, nor prove that you are stronger. What I seek in you is not speed as the world measures it, but alignment in rhythm. As it is written, to everything there is a season, Ecclesiastes 3:1. So when you walk in the right rhythm, you neither rush nor fall behind. You simply remain within the flow, and within that flow, you will not move forward by your own strength alone. You will be carried gently yet surely within a movement greater than yourself. What I have spoken will no longer remain as distant promises, but will become living realities. What you once waited for will no longer stand still ahead of you, but will begin to move toward you at the appointed time. For when you are in me, you no longer chase what I have ordained you step into where it is already at work. My beloved child, keep your heart in both courage and humility. Courage to step forward when you cannot yet see the whole path, and humility to remain aligned with my rhythm even when clarity begins to come. Do not seek the easy way, seek the right way. Do not cling to what makes you feel safe. Cling to me, the one who is your true assurance. And as you live in this way, you will come to understand something you had not fully grasped before. You are not merely passing through this journey, you are being carried in glory. A glory that is not loud, but deep. A glory that is not displayed, but that spreads quietly. And within that glory, everything I have promised will no longer be something you merely hope for, but something you begin to live each day. My beloved child, when you truly step into the resonance I am weaving among hearts that are united, you will begin to witness things that surpass your individual capacity. There is a strength that does not come from personal effort, but from harmony, a life flowing without obstruction, a light arising that darkness cannot contain. This is not something you can produce, nor the result of solitary striving, but the manifestation of my glory when grace is joined across many lives. And as you walk within that flow, you will no longer fear greater connections, nor be concerned about losing yourself within a multitude. You will understand that within the connections I establish, you are being lifted not to become greater than others, but to become aligned with what I have ordained from the beginning. Do not think this is distant or reserved for those you consider greater. Do not think you are too small to contribute. Look at a wave in the ocean. It is not formed by a single drop, but by countless drops moving in one direction. When each drop is rightly positioned and moves in rhythm, the wave emerges, carrying a strength no single drop could generate alone. So it is with you, my beloved. When you are where I have placed you and move within the rhythm I am initiating, you become an indispensable part of what I am doing. As it is written, we are co-workers with God, 1 Corinthians 3:9. So, you are not standing outside as an observer, you are within, participating. Hold this deeply within your heart. When I lift you, it is not so that you stand above others, but so that you may see farther and reach more. Every elevation carries a responsibility, not a heavy burden, but a privilege to share what you have received. When you are lifted, do not close your heart in self-protection or hold tightly to what you have been given. Open yourself, extend your hand, lift others up with you. For what I give to you is not meant to end with you, it is designed to flow through you. Consider this in the life of Joseph. When he was raised up in Egypt, he did not treat that position as a personal glory. He became a channel through which many were sustained in a time of famine. What I gave him was not for separation, but for provision to others. Do you see? My beloved, true elevation is always accompanied by openness. If you hold back, the flow will cease. But when you give, the flow continues and becomes even more abundant. As it is written, freely you have received, freely give. Matthew 10:8. So do not hold what you have received as your own possession. Let it become living water flowing through your life. When a door is opened before you, do not close it behind you out of fear of losing advantage. Leave it open so that those who come after you may enter. And as you do, you lose nothing. You become part of increase. My beloved child, the unity I am leading you into is not a place where you are dissolved, but where you are multiplied. When you live within that flow, you will no longer be concerned with whether you have enough, because you will understand that fullness is not found in how much you keep, but in how much you release in me. And in that giving, you will receive not in the way the world defines, but through an increase from heaven, an increase that does not weigh you down, but expands you. So walk in this with an open heart. Trust that every connection I establish, every opportunity I open, every elevation I grant carries a purpose far beyond you. And when you live with this awareness, you will not only witness my glory, you will become a place where that glory is revealed, extended, and touches many lives through you. My beloved child, I am teaching you not to become a place where others stop, but to become a path through which many may pass. Learn to live as a bridge that does not keep for itself, does not cling or restrain, but opens so that others may move forward. When you live in this way, you will understand that your value is not found in how much you retain, but in how many are lifted, guided, and touch through you. A bridge does not need to be honored to fulfill its purpose. It only needs to be steady, faithful, and available. And when you become that bridge in my hands, your life will no longer be limited to what you can see before you, but will reach lives you have never known. What you build today, every word, every action, every quiet act of obedience will become the foundation for the steps of others tomorrow. As it is written, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father. Matthew 5:16. So true glory is not that your name is remembered, but that through you, many come to recognize me. And my beloved child, as you step into this way of living, you will find that you are no longer bound by the need to be recognized. You do not need to prove yourself as a destination, because you understand that you are a flow. You do not need to hold others back, because you know that what I have placed within you is not meant to be contained, but to lead. When you release the need for control, you are freed to serve. When you no longer try to keep for yourself, you become a place through which life can pass in its fullness. Remember John the Baptist, whom I used to prepare the way for something greater than himself. He did not keep the crowds for himself, but pointed to me and said, "He must increase, but I must decrease." John 3:30. And in that surrender, his role was fulfilled completely. Do you see, my beloved? One who understands that they are a bridge does not fear being forgotten, for they know their purpose is not to be retained, but to be used. Now, my beloved child, as your heart has opened to my word, and your steps have begun to move away from what is familiar into the flow of unity I am leading you into, I do not desire for you to understand only with your mind, but to live from your soul. For what I am doing requires not only awareness, but response. And the deepest response is prayer, not repeated words, but a true outpouring from the deepest place within you. So lift your heart even now. Do not strive. Do not search for perfect words. Simply be real. Let your soul reach toward me as water returns to its source. Let your prayer become the bridge between what I have spoken and what you are living. Almighty God, I come before you, not in perfection, but with an open heart. I offer you myself, what I understand and what I do not yet understand, the parts that are strong and the places that are still weak. Teach me to become a bridge in your hands, so that through my life, your life may flow to others. Beloved Father, teach me to release the need to hold things for myself. Set me free from the fear of loss, so that I may give freely. Give me a heart that remains open, so that when you bring others into my life, I will not close myself, but will be ready to receive and to support. Lord, place within me a quiet faithfulness, so that I do not seek attention, but seek obedience. Help me to stand firm in the role you have given me, whether others see or not, knowing that you always see and are shaping me through every small thing. Source of all life, make my life a flowing stream, unblocked and unrestrained. Let what I receive from you not end with me, but extend outward, touching and bringing life to many others. Gracious Father, I thank you that you have not called me to live for myself alone, but for a purpose far greater. I thank you for choosing me, for placing me, and for leading me step by step in this journey. I also give thanks for your patience, for teaching me, for lifting me even when I do not fully understand. Let my life remain within your flow, so that all I do reflects your glory. And now, my beloved child, rise in peace. Walk as a bridge, steady, open, and willing, for when you live in this way, you will not only fulfill your own journey, but you will open the way for many others to begin theirs through you. My beloved child, quiet your heart for a moment, for what I am about to say is not meant to trouble you, but to awaken the deep place within you that has slowly drifted into slumber amidst days that seem calm on the surface. You think you are well. You believe the rhythm you are living in is enough. Yet I see far beyond what your eyes can perceive. I see areas within your soul that have stood still for too long, not because you have been resting, but because you have grown accustomed to standing still. And I do not want you to mistake the stillness of true peace for the silence of stagnation. For there are quiet places that do not come from my presence, but from a heart that has ceased to listen. As it is written, watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. Matthew 26:41. So, vigilance is not tauntien, but the sensitivity of the soul to my movement. Therefore, do not be surprised when I begin to shake what you once believed was stable. I do not come to break you, but to free you from structures that have become too narrow for the destiny I have placed within you. There are places that once sheltered you, but have now become limitations. There are habits that once helped you stand, but now cause you to slow down. And I, as a father, cannot leave you in a space that no longer nourishes your life. As it is written, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. Philippians 3:13. I am inviting you to step forward, not in panic, but in trust. You often measure everything by time. How long? When will it come? Why has it not happened yet? But my child, I do not operate according to the clock of the world. My rhythm is not bound by days or seasons, but guided by the maturity of your soul. When you try to force things to happen according to your own timeline, you risk missing what I am doing in the depths. For as it is written, my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. Isaiah 55:9. If you desire to walk with me, you must learn to release your need for control and step into trust. I do not require you to move quickly. I require you to move rightly. Remember the story of Elijah when he fled into the wilderness. Exhausted and ready to give up, he waited for me in the great and powerful things, the wind, the earthquake, to the fire, but I was not in them. And then at last, I came to him in a still, small voice. 1 Kings 19:11-12. Do you see? My child, I do not always reveal myself through the loud movements that are easy for you to recognize. There are moments when I speak very softly, and only those who are willing to quiet themselves can hear. If you continue waiting for dramatic signs, you may miss the gentle yet powerful voice that is leading you. So what I am teaching you is not to do more, but to listen more deeply, not to strive harder, but to become more sensitive to my leading. When you learn to pause at the right moment and move at the right moment, you will begin to see that your journey is no longer a chain of exhausting efforts, but a flow guided by my hand. As it is written, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. Psalm 23:1-2. So my guidance does not only lead you forward, but also knows when you must rest and be restored. I know there are times when you feel confused because things are not unfolding as you expected. You wonder whether you have gone the wrong way, or whether I am still leading you. But my beloved, the slowing down is not always a sign of error. Sometimes it is how I hold you back from stepping into what you are not yet ready for. Sometimes it is the silence you need in order to hear me more clearly above the noise of the world. And sometimes it is how I teach you to trust, not in what you can see, but in the one you cannot see. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. Therefore, do not be afraid when I draw you out of what is familiar. Do not resist when I begin to unsettle the things you once depended on. I am not taking away to leave you empty. I am clearing the way so that you may be filled more fully. I am not causing you to lose direction. I am repositioning you within your true purpose. And when you choose to trust, even when you do not yet understand, you are stepping into a new level of maturity where you no longer need to foresee everything, yet can still walk with steadiness. My beloved child, let your heart soften before me. Allow me to teach you to discern between true rest and disguised stagnation. Let me open your eyes so you may recognize when I am calling you forward, and when I am inviting you to pause. For in all things, I am never far from you. I am leading you, step by step, not according to the rhythm of the world, but according to the rhythm of the eternal life I have placed within you. And if you remain in me, listen to me, and trust me, you will not only go far, you will go rightly. My beloved child, there have been days when you have grown accustomed to walking more by sight than by trust in me. You observe circumstances, weigh your abilities, calculate your path, and then wonder whether everything is certain enough for you to move forward. But I am gently drawing you out of a way of living that depends only on what can be seen, and leading you into a deeper, holier rhythm where your soul is no longer governed by speculation, but guided by union with me. For as it is written, the just shall live by faith, Romans 1:17. And faith is not waiting until every answer is revealed before stepping forward. Faith is recognizing my voice in the midst of uncertainty, and still placing your foot down in trust. When you learn to live this way, you will no longer be carried up and down by circumstances like the waves of the sea, but will be held steady by my quiet yet powerful presence within you. I know your mind desires a map before the journey begins, a sign before obedience, a result before the seed is sown. But my child, if you only move when everything is made clear, you will never learn the depth of being led by me. Abraham went out, not knowing where he was going. Yet in that very step of obedience, he entered into the covenant I had prepared for him. By faith, Abraham obeyed and went out, not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. Do you see? I do not always give you the entire path. Often I give just enough light for the next step, so that you will not cling to control, but cling to me. And when you hold on to me, you are never without direction. Even when your eyes cannot yet see what lies ahead, there are those who believe that constant motion means progress. Yet their souls drift far from the source of life. They run from one task to another, speak from one word to the next, build from one plan to another. Yet within they remain dry because they move outside of my rhythm. My child, I do not want you merely busy. I want you to be filled. I do not want your life to produce only noise. I want it to release life. As it is written, unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Psalm 127:1. So work without my presence becomes a burden decorated with achievement. But when you abide in me, even the smallest thing you do can carry the fragrance of heaven. Therefore, allow me to realign the rhythm within you. Do not only ask, what must I do? But ask instead, where is my Father in this? Do not merely question, is this effective? But discern, does this reflect the Father's heart? For I am not concerned only with the outcomes you achieve. I look at the source from which you act. There are actions that appear right outwardly, yet within are driven by fear, rivalry, or haste. And there are steps so small, so quiet, unnoticed by others. Yet they are pleasing to me because they are born of obedience. For in Him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. This is not a lofty idea for you to recite, but a reality for you to live. Every breath, every decision, every movement of your life finds its meaning when it abides in me. My beloved child, this is not a season for your soul to fall asleep within familiarity. I am breathing life into places that once seemed to have grown cold. I am rekindling the flame within hearts that have grown weary from waiting too long. I am calling those who believed they had been left behind to rise again, not by their own strength, but by a new breath from me. Remember Ezekiel, when I brought him into the valley full of dry bones. In human eyes, it was a place without hope. Yet when my word was spoken, bone came to bone, sinew covered them, and breath entered into them. And they stood up as a vast army. Ezekiel 37:110. Do you see? Dryness does not unsettle me. Stillness cannot hinder my power. When I speak life, even what seemed dead can rise again. Therefore, do not call yourself one who is too late. Do not say that you have lost too much time, missed too many opportunities, or fallen too far behind others. No one is forgotten in my hands. Yet there are those who, because of weariness, no longer listen, because of disappointment, no longer expect, because of familiarity with delay, no longer recognize when I call. Today, I am restoring within you your spiritual hearing. I am softening the places of your heart that have grown hardened through waiting. I am teaching you to hear me, not only in great signs, but in gentle promptings, in deep peace, in the quiet yet persistent whisper of the Spirit. Walk slowly when I ask you to slow, and move forward when I call you to advance. Do not imitate the rhythm of the crowd, for not every movement comes from me. Do not fear being set apart when I am the one who sets you apart. You were not created to live by noise, but by calling, and when you come into alignment with me, your words will no longer be empty. Your works will no longer be burdensome, and your presence will no longer be faint. You will carry peace into chaos, light into darkness, and life into places that seem dry. Abide in me, and I in you. John 15:4. For the branch does not strive to bear fruit, it simply remains in the true vine. My beloved, I am not awakening you merely to open your eyes, but to lead you into a new way of living. I am not only calling you out of slumber, but drawing you into union. From this moment on, do not let circumstances be the loudest voice within you. Do not allow your reasoning to sit upon the throne that belongs to me alone. Let faith lift you beyond the limitations of what your eyes can see. Let my presence become your breath, your steps, your rhythm of life. For when you live in me, you do not merely pass through life, you become a living testimony that I still lead, still restore, still ignite the flame, and still call my children to walk in the abundance of life. My beloved child, I see in you not only what you have already understood, but also what you have not yet dared to step into. You have gathered much. You have heard deep truths. You have felt my touch in quiet moments. Yet I want you to know that all these things are not a destination, but an invitation. Knowledge is not where you are meant to remain. It is only a doorway. Revelation is not something for you to hold tightly as a rare possession, but something meant to flow from you like living water. For if you only receive and do not step forward, you will remain outside of what I have prepared. But when you dare to step into what you do not fully understand, you enter into union with me, where every action becomes a declaration that you choose to trust me rather than cling to your own certainty. As it is written, the righteous shall live by faith. Hebrews 10:38. So true, life does not come from understanding enough, but from responding rightly. And my child, there are times when I do not reveal the whole picture to you, not because I desire confusion, but because I desire your heart to be anchored in me rather than in a plan. If you could see everything, you would easily lean on what you know instead of leaning on me. But when you see only in part, your soul learns to depend, to listen, to trust. As it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. For your understanding is limited, but my guidance is never mistaken. I do not require you to grasp everything. I require you to hold on to me. Look again to Abraham, who left behind all that was familiar, not because he clearly understood the destination, but because he recognized the call. I did not give him a detailed map, I gave him a word. And with every step he took, the path unfolded. By faith Abraham went out, not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. This was not blindness, but deep trust. Do you see? My beloved, I did not ask him to understand first and obey later. I invited him to obey, and then to understand along the way. And in that process, he became the bearer of the covenant, not because he held the plan, but because he held on to me. Now you are standing before such a threshold, a call to step out from what has been familiar, from what once served as your sense of safety. It may not have been wrong, but it is no longer enough. It may have sustained you for a time, but it can no longer carry you further. And I, as a loving father, cannot allow you to remain in a place that has become a boundary to what I have intended for you. As it is written, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead. Philippians 3:13. Not because your past has no value, but because your future is calling you forward. Do not be afraid when I lead you out of well-worn paths. Do not assume that the gentle unease you feel is a sign of error. At times, it is the sign that you are leaving the familiar to enter into greater depth. Just as Peter stepped out of the boat amid the waves, he did not step because the water had become safe, but because he heard my voice calling, "Come," Matthew 14:29. And when he stepped, what was impossible became the ground that held him. Yet when his eyes turned away from me, he began to sink. Do you see? The miracle does not lie in circumstances being changed, but in your eyes remaining fixed on me. When you move according to my voice, even instability can become a foundation beneath you. I do not draw you out of the old to leave you without direction, but to establish you upon a deeper foundation, a foundation not shaken by circumstances, by people, or by outward changes. I desire for you to stand firm, not because everything around you is stable, but because I am within you. The Lord is my rock and my fortress. Psalm 18:2. So true, security is not found in a place, but in relationship. And my beloved child, what I seek in you is not perfection, but response. I am not waiting for you to understand everything before you move. I am waiting for you to trust enough to begin. There are doors that will not open until you draw near. There are truths that will not become clear until you dare to live within them. For my kingdom is not given to those who merely observe, but to those who step in. Let what you have received become life in action. Do not keep it as something beautiful only in your thoughts, but allow it to shape the way you live, the way you speak, the way you walk each day. When you do this, you do not merely understand truth, you become a part of it, and your life will no longer be a series of correct thoughts, but a living flow that reflects me. So, my beloved, do not remain at the threshold any longer. Do not allow a false sense of safety to keep you from what I have prepared. Step forward, even if you do not yet see clearly, even if you do not fully understand, even if your heart still trembles. For when you walk in faith, you do not walk alone. I am there, in every step you take, guiding, sustaining, and revealing myself more clearly each time you choose to trust. And in time, you will realize that what you once feared was not something to avoid, but the very doorway that leads you into deeper union with me. My beloved child, I see that you are standing before a very thin line, not between right and wrong, but between what is familiar and what I am opening before you. You sense that something is calling you further, yet you also feel a gentle hesitation holding you back. I do not condemn you for this. I understand the pause of a heart that has grown used to securing certainty before stepping forward. But today, I am inviting you to cross that boundary, not through recklessness, but through a quiet and profound trust in me. For as it is written, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you." Joshua 1:9. So walking with me is never an act of isolation. You may be looking into the space ahead and asking, if I step forward, what will happen? But, my child, the true question is not what will happen, but who is waiting for you there. When you recognize that it is I who am calling you, fear begins to lose its power, for fear depends on uncertainty to survive. But faith does not require full sight. It only needs to know that I am real. As it is written, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into my arms. I do not force you to leap across this line in panic. I do not urge you forward with pressure. I simply invite you to place one step that declares you trust me more than yourself. And when you do, you will discover that what you once called instability is not a place of danger, but a place where I am waiting to reveal my faithfulness. Just as Peter stepped out of the boat not because the sea was calm, but because he heard my voice calling. And in the moment, he kept his eyes on me. The waters were no longer a threat, but became his support. Matthew 14:29. Do you see? The miracle does not come when circumstances change, but when your heart chooses to trust in the midst of them. But my beloved child, I also want to remind you of this. Do not stop at merely feeling my presence. Do not let what you have heard, what has stirred your heart, what you have come to understand, become beautiful memories that take no form in your life. For truth only truly lives when it is walked out. When you hold it within, without acting upon it, it gradually becomes a memory, but when you turn it into decisions, into direction, into tangible steps, it becomes life operating within you. Be doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. James 1:22. For to hear without stepping forward is to remain at the doorway, but to walk in is to enter what I have opened. I am leading you into a life where each step of obedience unveils the next. You do not need to see the entire path. You only need to be faithful with the step before you. And then, as you look back, you will realize that you have been led far beyond what you once imagined, not because you understood more, but because you trusted more, not because you controlled better, but because you yielded more deeply to my guidance. As it is written, the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, that shines brighter and brighter until full day. Proverbs 4:18. So the light does not come all at once, but unfolds gradually with each step you take. Remember Joshua when he stood before the Jordan River. The waters were still flowing strongly. They did not part beforehand. But when the priests set their feet into the water, the river stopped. Joshua 3:13-16. Do you see? The miracle did not happen before they stepped. It happened as they stepped. I am doing the same in your life. There are things that will not change until you dare to step into them, not because I am delayed, but because I am waiting for your response to complete what I have begun. So, my beloved child, rise not to prove your strength, but to respond to my gentle calling. Step forward, not because you see clearly, but because you know I am ahead of you. Do not let fear keep you in a place of false safety. Do not let familiarity cause you to miss what I am opening. For true stability is not found in standing still, but in standing in me as you move. And step by step, you will discover that what once frightened you no longer holds power over you, not because it has disappeared, but because you have grown beyond it. You will come to see that what you once called instability was, in fact, the doorway into an unshakable foundation where you no longer rely on what can change, but are anchored in the one who never changes. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Hebrews 13:8. And in that unchanging nature, you will find yourself not as one standing at the edge, but as one walking firmly in union with me. My beloved child, do not let your heart be trapped in questions of readiness, as though you must reach a perfect state before you can move forward. I do not measure you by rising or falling emotions, nor do I weigh you by the level of confidence you have in yourself. What I seek in you is not certainty shaped by reason, but a heart willing to trust me, even when you do not yet see clearly. For as it is written, trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Proverbs 3:5. If you wait until everything becomes reasonable, you will remain at the starting point. But when you dare to step, even if it is only a small step, the light will not come before you move. It will come with your step, illuminating the path as you go. I know there is a part within you that longs to understand everything before acting, to see the entire path clearly before leaving the place of safety. But my child, if I were to give you all the answers at the very beginning, you would no longer need me along the journey. And I do not only desire to bring you to a destination, I desire that you walk with me throughout the entire journey. That is why I withhold a portion of the picture, not to confuse you, but to keep your heart close to me. When you cannot see everything, you will seek me. When you do not yet understand, you will learn to listen. And in that dependence, the relationship between you and me becomes alive. Look at Naaman, a man of great authority who was nevertheless powerless before his illness. When he came seeking healing, he expected something that matched his status, a grand gesture, a powerful declaration, an act worthy of his expectations. But I did not choose that path. I sent him to an ordinary river with a simple instruction, to wash in it repeatedly. It did not align with his reasoning, nor did it make sense according to his understanding. He grew angry and was ready to turn away. But when he humbled himself and obeyed, step by step, healing began to manifest. 2 Kings 5. Do you see? The miracle is not limited by your understanding, but is released through your obedience. It is not the grand act you imagine that brings transformation, but the simple act done in response to my word. And this is precisely where you are being invited. I am not asking how much you understand. I am asking how willing you are to trust. I am not looking for a perfect plan within you, but for a genuine step. For in my kingdom, the movement of faith always precedes the clarity of the mind. You will not see the whole path, but you will always have enough light to take the next step. As it is written, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. That lamp does not illuminate the entire journey at once, but lights each step enough to keep you from stumbling, enough to move forward, enough to keep you from losing your way. Do not let the fear of being unready hold you back. Do not let the inner voice convince you that you need more time, more understanding, more signs. For there are things that are only revealed when you step into them, There are doors that only open when you draw near, and there are truths that only become clear when you dare to live within them. If you remain still, you may preserve a sense of safety, but you will miss the life waiting ahead. But if you step even with trembling, you will discover that I was already there, waiting for you, sustaining you, and completing what I have begun within you. My beloved, I do not require you to be strong in the way you imagine. I simply invite you to trust in the way I lead. And as you do, step by step, you will realize that true stability does not come from controlling everything, but from being anchored in me. When you live this way, you are no longer governed by what you understand, but guided by the one who understands all things. Therefore, walk forward, my child, not because you feel ready by your own standards, but because you are being called by me, not because you see clearly, but because you know that I am leading. And in each step, you will come to realize that what you once sought through understanding, I have already placed within trust. My beloved child, I know that within you there are movements you yourself find difficult to name. Things that once set you ablaze now seem to quiet down. Emotions that once surged now soften like a gentle breeze. You begin to wonder whether you are losing something, or whether something within you is fading away. But I tell you the truth, you are not losing the fire, you are being refined in it. What I am doing is not extinguishing, but purifying, so that what was once mixed, influenced by fleeting emotions or incomplete motives, may now be made clean. For as it is written, our God is a consuming fire, Hebrews 12:29. And that fire does not come to destroy you, but to burn away what does not belong to your true nature, so that the pure essence I have placed within you may be revealed more clearly. So when you feel yourself changing, do not be quick to fear. There are changes that are not signs of loss, but evidence of growth. The fire I am leading you into now no longer depends on fluctuating emotions, but is anchored in my presence. It does not merely warm you in moments of comfort, but becomes a light that guides you even in times when you feel nothing at all. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. True light does not require favorable conditions to exist. It shines even when everything around you seems silent. My beloved, I have not called you to drift through your days in unconscious repetition. I have called you into a life of purpose, where every step you take carries the imprint of what I have ordained. You are no longer the person shaped by the limitations of your past. You are being renewed from within, not by outward circumstances, but by my own hand at work in your heart. Put on the new self, created to be like God, Ephesians 4:24. This is not a distant concept, but a process unfolding within you even now. Each time you choose trust over fear, each time you choose obedience over delay, you are putting on that new self. But I also want you to understand this clearly. Your greatest battle is not taking place around you, but within you. It is not your circumstances that are holding you back, but the familiar voices in your mind, the whispers of fear, of doubt, of old definitions that once confined you. They try to convince you that you cannot change, that you are not enough, that you should remain where it feels safe. But I say to you, those voices no longer have authority over you. We demolish arguments and take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ, 2 Corinthians 10:5. So you do not have to accept every thought that enters your mind. You can choose, you can discern, you can reject what does not come from me. Remember Gideon, whom I called while he was still hiding in fear. In his own eyes, he was the weakest, unqualified, without position to do anything great. Yet I called him a mighty warrior, Judges 6:20. 12. Do you see? I did not call him according to what he felt about himself, but according to what I had placed within him. And when he began to believe my word more than his own feelings, he stepped into victory. So it is with you. My beloved, what you think about yourself is not the final truth. My word is what defines you. Therefore, when old thoughts return, do not engage them as though they carry equal authority with the truth. Place them under the light of my word. Let truth be greater than your emotions. Let my voice rise above the noise within you. And as you do this, you will begin to see that much of the battle has already been won. What remains is simply to walk in obedience, step by step, without haste, without pressure, but with steadiness. I do not teach you discipline through force, but through guidance. True discipline is not striving in your own strength to change, but choosing to follow my voice, even when you do not feel ready. And each time you do, you are building a new foundation in your life, one that is not based on shifting emotions, but on enduring faithfulness. My beloved child, do not be afraid of the change unfolding within you. Do not think that you are losing yourself. You are becoming yourself, the true self I intended from the beginning. The fire burning within you is no longer the fragile flame of emotion, but the steady flame of life. And as you continue to walk in trust, you will see that what I am building within you cannot be shaken. Be at peace and keep walking. I am with you not only when you feel my presence clearly, but even when you feel nothing at all. And in those moments that seem silent, I am doing my deepest, most enduring, and most real work within you. My beloved child, there are times when you expect me to come like thunder, like a mighty wind that shakes everything familiar. Yet I choose to touch you in a very different way, gentle, quiet, like light slowly spreading through the night without a sound. And because of that gentleness, you may easily overlook it if your heart is still filled with too much noise. But if you open the eyes of your soul, you will begin to recognize that it is not that nothing is happening, everything is moving. Quietly, yet surely, what you once called endings, I am turning into beginnings. The paths you thought were misdirection, I am using to lead you into something new. As it is written, behold, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. What I do does not need the world's confirmation to be real. It becomes real the moment I speak. You are beginning to sense a change you cannot fully explain, a shift within. A light not overwhelming, yet strong enough that you cannot return to what you once were. This is not a passing emotion, it is an awakening. And when you are truly awakened, it is not only you who perceives it, the spiritual realm recognizes it as well. For every awakened soul is a lamp being lit, and light cannot remain hidden. You are the light of the world, nor do they light a lamp and put it under a basket. Matthew 5:14-15. I have not placed light within you for you to keep to yourself, but for you to become a sign, a living testimony to those still searching in darkness that there is still a way. There is still light. There is still me. And my beloved, do not think that you must become perfect before I can use you. I do not wait for you to be complete before I call you. I call you so that the process of transformation may begin. When I say go, it is not a heavy command meant to burden you, but a gracious invitation, a doorway opening before you, leading you out of old limitations into the glory I have prepared. My grace is sufficient for you, 2 Corinthians 12:9. So you do not move by your own strength, but by my sustaining power in every step. Remember the story of Samuel when he was still a child. In the night, he heard a voice calling, yet he did not immediately recognize that it was mine. He ran to Eli, thinking it was a human voice. But when he was taught how to respond, he said, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. Do you see? Awakening does not come all at once with complete understanding. It comes through growing sensitivity, through learning to discern my voice among many others. And when you begin to respond even before you fully understand, the relationship between you and me becomes more alive than ever. Therefore, do not dismiss the gentle promptings within your heart. Do not overlook the small thoughts that carry peace. Do not delay the simple steps I am placing before you. Every step you take in trust, no matter how small, becomes a yes that echoes not only in your life, but in the spiritual realm. And each time you choose to move forward instead of retreat, you align yourself with the movement of heaven, a movement that is quiet, yet unstoppable. My beloved child, the light within you was not given to remain still. It was given to shine, to expand, to reach places you never imagined you would step into. And as you walk in that light, you will come to realize that you are not living for yourself alone, but becoming part of something greater, a movement beyond understanding, yet filled with purpose. Keep opening your heart. Keep listening. Keep walking. There is no need to rush, but do not remain still. For I am in every movement you make, not only at the destination, but in every step along the way. And in that union, you will see that what I am doing is not only new, it is life rising within you. Strong, pure, and impossible to extinguish. My beloved, hold this deeply within your heart when you depend on me. You do not become weaker, you are being made stronger day by day. Trust does not slow you down, it aligns your path so that each step is taken at the right time, on the right way. There are moments when you think you are standing still, yet in truth I am building within you a foundation your eyes cannot see. For as it is written, "Be still, and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. That stillness is not emptiness, but the place where I work most deeply, where your faith is formed not merely by words, but by patience and trust. Do not fear the days without loud signs. Do not be troubled when you do not feel as much as before. I have never left you, even when you do not hear clearly. I am still speaking, even when you cannot see the path. I am still leading. There are seasons when I do not speak through great displays, but through a steady quietness, so that you may learn to recognize me beyond your emotions. As it is written, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Exodus 14:14. So stillness is not passivity, it is an active trust, a releasing of your need to control in order to hold on to my presence. So, my child, do not rush after you have been awakened. Do not think you must immediately do something great to prove what I have placed within you. Learn to stand firm before you run. Learn to anchor yourself in me before you go far. When your roots go deep, the wind will not shake you. When your heart is steady in me, outward changes will not cause you to lose direction. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken but endures forever. Psalm 125:1. For true stability is not found in avoiding the storm, but in standing firm within it. I know you may feel a strong urge to move quickly, to seize, to act immediately. But remember this, not every movement comes from me. There are hurried steps that can pull you away from what I am preparing. Therefore, let your heart learn to trust little by little, not under pressure, but within rest. When you abide in me, you do not need to rush, for you know you are not being left behind. What I have for you will not pass you by simply because you move slowly. It will become clearer as you walk rightly. Remember David when he stood before Goliath. He did not rush into the battle in panic. nor did he rely on weapons that were not his own. He stepped forward with a certainty, rooted in his relationship with me, a trust that had been formed in unseen days while tending the sheep. The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine. 1 Samuel 17:37. Do you see? His victory did not begin on the battlefield, but in quiet moments no one witnessed. So it is with you. My beloved, what I am doing in you today, though unseen by others, is the foundation for what I will reveal through you tomorrow. And understand this clearly. What you are going through is not a series of meaningless trials. I do not lead you through these seasons to exhaust you or break you. I am training you not to make you rigid, but to make you steadfast. I am building within you a stability that does not depend on circumstances, is not shaken by emotions, and cannot be destroyed by adversity. As it is written, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, for having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life." James 1:12. Trials are not signs of your failure. They are evidence that you are being formed. My beloved, remain in that trust. Do not run ahead of me, and do not retreat in fear. Move when I say move, and stand when I say stand. In all things, you are never alone. I am with you, not only in the great steps, but in the smallest moments. And as you continue to live in union with me, you will realize that the stability you are seeking is not far away. It has already been placed within you, being nurtured, strengthened, and will be fully revealed at the appointed time. My beloved child, hold this deeply as an unshakable truth. When you place your trust in me, you do not become fragile. You are being made firm. Trust does not slow you down as you once feared. It aligns your steps so that you do not lose your way. There are paths that seem faster, yet lead into circles. But the path I lead may appear slower, while guiding you precisely where I have destined. Therefore, as you learn to rely on me in every circumstance, you will no longer be shaken by days that seem quiet. You will begin to see that silence is not absence, but the space where I am working most deeply. As it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." Psalm 46:10. That stillness is not empty, but the place where your faith is shaped, refined, and brought to maturity. And so, my beloved, do not rush forward the moment you are awakened. Do not think you must immediately do something great to prove the change within you. There are steps that can only endure when they begin from a heart that is anchored. Learn to stand in me before you move for me. Let your heart absorb trust little by little, like roots quietly reaching deep into the soil. When you are established within, your steps will no longer tremble with doubt, but will carry a quiet certainty that does not need to be displayed. Those who trust in the Lord are like Mount Zion, which cannot be shaken. Psalm 125:1. That stability does not come from avoiding the wind, but from no longer being moved by it. Remember that you no longer walk alone. Every step you take, no matter how small, I walk with you. I am not one who speaks only in great moments and then remains silent in the ordinary days. I am always speaking through the peace you sense, through the gentle prompting within your heart, through the truths I place in your mind. As you learn to recognize these, you will understand that I have never truly been silent. I am leading, sustaining, and adjusting your steps, even when you do not clearly perceive it. My beloved, what you are going through is not a series of random or meaningless trials. Nothing in your journey is wasted. I am not training you to exhaust you, nor placing you in situations to cause you to fall. I am building within you a steadfastness that no circumstance can break. The pressures you feel are not meant to weigh you down, but to reveal the strength I have already placed within you. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, for having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life. James 1:12. Trials are not signs of failure, they are evidence that you are being prepared. Look again at David in the days when he was in the wilderness, when there was no audience, no glory, only long hours tending sheep. It was there, in unseen silence, that I formed within him trust and courage. When he stood before Goliath, he did not rely on that moment to become strong. He stepped forward with a strength that had already been forged in hidden days. The Lord who delivered me will deliver me. 1 Samuel 17:37. So it is with you, my beloved. Those days that seem as though nothing is happening are the very place where I am doing my greatest work within you. Therefore, do not despise the quiet seasons. Do not rush to escape them. Remain, listen, and allow me to complete my work within you. When the time comes, you will move, not in confusion, but in a steadiness that has already been formed. And when you step forward, you will realize that you do not need to strive to keep yourself standing, for I am the one holding you. My beloved child, continue to trust. Continue to anchor your heart in me. Let every step you take become a testimony that true stability does not come from stable circumstances, but from an unshakable relationship between you and me. My beloved, understand this deeply within your heart. Trust is not something that appears fully formed within you from the beginning. It is built through many small yet faithful choices. It does not come as a passing emotion, but grows as a strength that is trained, just as muscles become strong through use. Your faith matures only as you practice it in daily life. Each time you choose trust instead of allowing worry to lead you, you are strengthening your soul. Each time you remain quiet instead of giving in to complaint, you are building within yourself a space of peace that circumstances cannot break. And each time you decide to stand firm, refusing to give up even when you feel weary, you are laying another solid stone in the foundation of your life. As it is written, be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God goes with you. Deuteronomy 31:6. That word is not only for you to hear as comfort, but for you to live as a daily reality. And my beloved child, do not misunderstand the moments when you feel weak. Do not be quick to conclude that they are signs of failure or regression. It is in those very moments that I am teaching you something no one can learn without passing through them, the true source of strength. One who has never trembled cannot understand what it means to stand firm. One who has never felt limitation cannot truly learn dependence. And when you find yourself in your weakness, you are not being removed from the journey, you are being drawn deeper into it. My power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. So what you perceive as limitation becomes the very place where my strength is revealed most clearly. Remember Jacob on the night he wrestled with me by the river. He did not enter that encounter in full strength, but in weariness and uncertainty. Yet in that struggle, when he refused to let go even while wounded, he received a new name, a new identity. Genesis 32:24-28. Do you see? Transformation does not come when you feel strong, but when you remain steadfast even in weakness. And when you emerge from such moments, you are no longer the same. Outwardly, you may appear unchanged, but inwardly, you have been reshaped deeper, truer, more grounded. I do not require you to become someone who is never weak. I am teaching you to become someone who is not overcome by weakness. There is a profound difference between the two. One who has never felt weak may trust in themselves, but one who has walked through weakness and still stands learns to place their trust in me. And it is that trust that makes you steadfast. Each time you rise after feeling unable to continue, you are becoming someone who can carry responsibility without collapsing. Someone who can walk through strong winds without losing direction. Therefore, my beloved, do not avoid the difficult moments within you. Do not try to hide them or escape them too quickly. Remain with me in them. Allow me to teach you how to stand not by your own strength, but through reliance on me. Let each small choice you make trust instead of fear, silence instead of complaint, perseverance instead of surrender become the bricks that build an unshakable life. And then, as you look back, you will realize that the strength you carry today did not come from a single great moment, but from hundreds of small, faithful decisions. You will understand that I did not merely bring you through trials. I used those very trials to form you. And through that formation, you have become a new person, not because you no longer have weakness, but because you have learned where true strength is found. My beloved child, this is no longer the time for you to return to old questions, nor to remain caught in cycles of uncertain thinking. This is the moment I call you to rise, not through strain, but through the maturity that has been quietly formed within you. The days you once thought were delays were never wasted. I have used every one of them to build strength within your soul, so that when you begin to move, you will not walk by fragile effort, but by the momentum of what I have prepared. As it is written, those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall run and not grow weary. They shall walk and not faint. Isaiah 40:31. So your waiting has not been empty. It has been the process through which I have deepened your foundation, so that your steps will not falter along the way. Look at yourself again not through the eyes of your past, but through the new awareness I am placing within you. You are no longer one who lacks, no longer one striving to reach from a distance. You are walking as one who has been refined through fire, not a fire meant to destroy you, but to purify you. What you once called loss, I have turned into substance. The places that once slowed you down, I have transformed into momentum. Nothing you have walked through has been meaningless. Every tear, every pause, every moment you chose not to give up, I have used them all to build a person who can carry greater things without collapsing. And now, you no longer stand in the position of one who begs from afar. I have placed within you an authority not for self-exaltation, but to function within my order. As it is written, I have given you authority, Luke 10:19. That authority is not the voice of self, but the flow of life moving through you. When you walk in union with me, wherever you step, light can spread. Wherever you speak, life can be stirred. Not because you have become greater, but because I am being revealed more clearly through you. But, my beloved, guard your heart carefully as you step into what I am opening before you. What I give is not meant to make you stand out among others, but to bring me glory through your life. If your heart remains pure, the light will pass through you without distortion. If your spirit remains humble, glory will not cause you to lose your way. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble, James 4:6. So humility does not make you smaller, it keeps you rightly positioned for me to continue working through you. Remember Moses, whom I used to deliver an entire nation. Yet he still stood before me as one who knew he needed me at every moment. When he lifted his hands, the people prevailed. When he grew weary and lowered them, they began to falter. Exodus 17:11. Do you see? Power does not reside in the person, but in continual connection with me, and it is humility that preserves that connection without interruption. When you abide in me, you do not need to strive to prove anything. My presence will speak on your behalf. Therefore, my beloved child, rise with the awareness that you have been prepared. Walk forward, not in pride, but in the understanding that all you carry comes from me. Do not return to old doubts. Do not allow memories of delay to cause you to question your present step. For now, you are no longer one who waits. You are one who moves. Step forward and keep stepping. There is no need for noise, no need for haste, only steadiness. For every step you take in obedience is a manifestation of my glory. And as you continue to keep your heart pure and your spirit humble, you will see that what I am doing through you will not only touch your life, but will extend outward, becoming light for those who have not yet found their way. I am with you in every step, in every breath, in every movement. And as you walk with me, you do not merely advance, you become a pathway through which my life flows. My beloved child, when doors begin to open before you and many invitations arise at once, remember this: not every opportunity is guidance. There are voices that sound appealing, yet do not carry my breath. Therefore, do not respond hastily simply because you can. Pause, quiet your heart, and discern which voice is truly calling you. Is it the voice of ambition urging you to move quickly, or the gentle yet steady voice of my leading, as it is written, "My sheep hear my voice, and they follow me," John 10:27. So, you do not need to run in many directions to prove anything. You only need to be faithful to one voice, my voice, and follow it. I am opening before you things you have never stepped into before, not because you pursued them, but because I have appointed their time. There are doors of influence where your words are no longer merely words, but carry life. There are doors of relationship where you do not need to strive for acceptance, because I have prepared the right connections at the right time. And there are doors of expansion where you are no longer confined by former limitations. But my beloved, an open door does not mean you must enter them all. Wisdom is found in knowing what to choose. For, as it is written, the prudent see danger and take refuge, Proverbs 22:3. So, moving forward is not always faith, and pausing is not always fear. There are moments when you must step, and moments when you must stand. There are times to speak, and times to remain silent. This sensitivity does not come from outward experience, but from inward relationship with me. When you remain close to me, you will know the right timing. When your heart stays attentive, you will recognize my rhythm in every decision. Clothe yourself with humility as your armor. Do not let new doors cause you to forget that all you have comes from me. God opposes the proud but gives grace to the humble, James 4:6. So as you keep yourself low, my grace will lift you in the right way, at the right time. Humility does not diminish you. It keeps you properly positioned so that I may continue working through you without distortion. And take hold of wisdom as your weapon. Do not seek recognition as your goal, but seek alignment with my intention. Do not be drawn to crowded places, but go where I am at work. There are places full of noise yet empty, and there are places quiet yet full of life. When you follow my presence, you will not be lost in the chaos of the world. Ask yourself in every step, does this reflect light? Does it carry my peace? Does it draw you closer to me? If the answer is yes, then move forward with boldness, for I am with you. But if you sense unrest, pressure, or a lack of peace, step back without fear. Withdrawal at the right time is not failure, it is protection. Remember Joshua as he led the people into the promised land? Not every city was approached in the same way. At times I told him to advance boldly. At other times I instructed him to walk in silence before taking action. Joshua 6. Do you see? Victory does not come from doing more, but from doing rightly, according to my leading. So it is with you. My beloved, do not measure success by the number of steps you take, but by the precision of each step. For the one who walks in the light does not need to prove that they are walking rightly. The light reveals itself. When you walk in me, you do not need to strive to convince anyone of what you carry. My presence through you will speak on your behalf. And that is what I desire, not that you become prominent, but that I be clearly seen through you. Therefore, walk slowly, yet with certainty. Choose wisely, yet without fear. And in all things, keep your ear inclined toward me. For when you follow the right voice, you will always be in the right place, even if that path looks unlike anyone else's. And I will lead you, sustain you, and complete what I have begun within you. My beloved child, when you love, let that love flow from the deepest place within your soul without holding back, without calculation, without guarding yourself behind limits formed by fear. I did not place love within you for you to measure how much you might receive in return, but for you to express what I have placed within your very being. As it is written, love one another earnestly. 1 Peter 1:22. True love does not wait for favorable circumstances or for you to feel secure. It is born in the very moment you choose to open your heart, even when you do not know what will come. And when you love in this way, you reflect me, the one who loves not by condition, but by nature. And when you forgive, do not think you do so because another is worthy. Forgiveness does not begin from the value of the other person, but from the freedom I desire to give you. What you hold within wounds, memories, unresolved words does not remain still. It becomes a hidden weight that prevents you from walking lightly. But when you forgive, you are no longer bound to the past. Forgive, just as God forgave you. Ephesians 4:32. So forgiveness is not forgetting what has happened, but releasing your hold on it. And when you release it, you will find your soul lighter, freer, ready to rise higher into what I am leading you toward. My beloved, from this moment, change the way you see everything in your life. Nothing is small or insignificant anymore, not because the task itself has changed, but because you have been changed. When you understand that you are called, even the simplest act carries sacred meaning. When you do a small thing with faithfulness, it is no longer ordinary, it becomes my imprint upon the earth. Whatever you do it as unto the Lord. Colossians 3:23. For when you live with this awareness, you no longer divide life into sacred and ordinary. Everything you touch becomes a place where I can be present. But my child, there will be times when you enter a quietness again, a stillness unlike before, gentle yet encompassing your whole soul. And in those moments, you may ask, are you still here? Yet I want you to understand, silence is not distance. It is a deeper form of presence, where words are no longer the primary means. There are things I do not communicate through speech, but through my very presence within you. As it is written of Elijah, he did not encounter me in the wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. You are being led into that depth where you no longer need dramatic signs, but recognize me in subtlety. In that silence, I am speaking in another way. I speak through the rhythm of your heart when you sense peace without needing a reason. I speak through your breath when you realize you are still being held steady amid uncertainty. I speak through the smallest signs, a gentle prompting, a clear thought, a quiet sense of peace or unrest that only your soul understands. These things are not loud, yet they are real, and only those who learn to be still are able to recognize them. My beloved child, when you remain in that silence, you no longer need to search with your eyes as before. You begin to perceive with your soul a knowing that does not require proof, yet stands firm. And as you learn to abide in this, you will no longer feel the lack you once felt. Instead, You will discover that you are being made full not because circumstances have changed, but because I am very near, closer than you can fully express. Continue to love. Continue to forgive. Continue to live faithfully in the smallest things. Embrace even the seasons of silence as part of my leading. For in all these things, I am forming you not merely into one who lives, but into one who lives in union with me. And as you walk in that union, you will no longer seek me as though I were far away. For you will come to realize I am within you, guiding you, sustaining you, and filling you in every moment.